It is. I appreciate that, yeah. Yeah.
The tower's going out again.
We're live.
I'd like to welcome everyone to June 11th Commissioners Meeting. Join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, entertain a motion to approve the minutes from May the 28th as submitted.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from our 28th May meeting.
Second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve accounts payable vouchers.
Make a motion to approve accounts payable vouchers.
I second that.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
And approve payroll docket.
I'll make a motion, we approve the payroll docket as submitted.
I second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Okay. Up first, we have, I guess Patty's gonna take the floor instead of Jody's?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
I'm filling in for Jody this evening and I'm here to talk about, or it's a subrecipient agreement for the Telegraph Hill Rikers Bridge Sewer Project. The grant that you guys were awarded for $750,000 for that project.
We were.
What was that?
We were?
Yeah. Well, yes.
I know, yeah, I understand.
So the subrecipient agreement, Rikers Ridge Sewer has, signed it. I know Jody had sent it to you guys and I believe to have or Sarah, and asked us for you to share it with the attorney. I don't know if he had a chance to review it or not, but I'm here to get a signature, but if you do not feel comfortable signing it, I can come back at the next meeting. Because we do need the attorneys, to attest this also. So whatever you're comfortable with.
I think we'll have Pat look at it.
Yeah,
Hey,
Okay,
yeah, get him.
all right. Heather, can I leave this with you? Okay, I'll leave it with you and you have, who is your attorney?
Pat McGrath.
Pat McGrath,
Mhm.
okay. And, once he reviews it, then we'll come back to the next meeting, okay? All right, I think that's it.
That was easy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Black. You have the podium, sir.
Good, how you doing?
Okay. I come to you now because we, 911 that, with the 911 board, we do not, no meetings have been set. We've only had two since we had one last year and then one this year, and that should be every quarter. And we do have local agreements. There's several things that need to be addressed, anything from radio equipment to the SOPs that has to be approved by that board. And we can't, all the fire departments feel like it's being kind of sidelined because we need to have this stuff approved, even though Brandon is doing very well getting them in there and enacting them. Because we've made several changes and updates. We still want to do it by the right way of having them board meetings, and we should be having them every quarter, and I think it's actually the interlocal agreement, and we're not having it.
I think one's been scheduled for the 24th. So,
24th of this month?
Yeah.
Nobody's been notified.
well,
It just would have had to gone out this week. So,
send it a little wider distribution, but I was I don't know when it came out, but.
It'll post it outside.
There's a pre-sold that box.
I can forward
well, I mean,
one of us can forward the.
Sure.
yeah, we need to
Media
get the
notice.
board out to everybody, but we have gotten pretty relaxed, and usually the chairman sets those meetings. So, of that board, also, that when we did have a change in the interlocal agreement, and we put, and I understand about law enforcement needing to be on there and all that, the fire departments, nobody representing the fire departments is on that board. I know it's not normal statutorily requirement for that, but a positive thing would be for the fire departments be somebody from the fire department be appointed to that board along with the law enforcement and with the mayor and with the commissioners. So everything's on an even keel, that there's full representation instead of just a committee, somebody from a committee. So we have to look at everything positive here, and I think we are doing better at a lot of things. But there's stuff that does need to be brought up in front of a board meeting, not at a commissioner's meeting or anything like that, in front of a 911 board meeting. So we do need to do better on getting those type of meetings, and if there's an emergency meeting needs to be called, then we need to be able to get that done in a timely fashion also. So that's what the fire department should request, and they asked me to represent all that between the city staff and the county chiefs, that we need to get this better, because our radio system is now, what we figure, Brandon, 14 years old. We put it in 2012. So it'd be 14 years old. It's very outdated, and it's not going to be cheap to do that. Next week I do meet with the radio people about the sub repeaters out in the county that we've been having trouble with at Canaan and DuPont, and the one that's out in Hanover. So there's a lot of things we need to do. So we do need to address, especially deputy getting their calls. A lot of times they're not getting their pages because of our system. So they're using the phone for them. So we do need to get those addressed, but my biggest thing is we need to have these meetings so that we can, a board or a committee can report into them and saying, hey, it's time we gotta get a request for proposal, have the whole county redone on as far as analyzing where we need sub repeaters, what type of radio system we would need to make things better for everything, because technology is outrunning us. So we need to do that. So that's why I'm here tonight, is to have it down in writing that we do this and get this done instead of waiting several months before we have a meeting. Because we should have had a meeting January, and then the next one would have been, well, the score would be made, right? So, we do need to do that. And we need to stay on focus with that. I know everybody's meeting to death, but this is very important. This has to deal with our emergency communications. That helps alleviate some of the pressure off of Brandon. And I got to set a meeting for this. I've got all this other stuff. That's what all the subcommittees is, to help out. So it's not all just dumped in his lap. So that's
So
what
it's June the 24th here.
it's June 24th here.
I'll send the meeting notice outside. I mean, you want me to start scheduling them? I kind of left it to you, but if you don't, if you get stuff going on, then I can. So we'll work it out.
Well, I think the last meeting, we talked about setting up a schedule, but there weren't enough people there to decide that schedule yet.
Okay, we'll try at this next meeting to set up a schedule.
Thank you, Robert.
Okay, Lindsay, you have a podium, dear.
Hello.
So, Pat sent me here today to get approval for enforcement. We had some houses that were not in livable condition due to some septic issues. So we have two different enforcement. They're not listening. They're just not following the orders that were given out. So now we have to have your guys' approval for us to file this with the court system for enforcement. So one is for 3221 North 850 West in Madison. And the other one is for 3027 East State Road 56 in Madison.
Okay.
I can give more information if you need it. I just kind of know what you're wanting.
We need to make a motion.
No, yeah. So, I mean, just so legal action can start, that's, well,
Yeah,
okay.
basically it's.
Let's make sure I get my motion
we
right. So
have legal authority to create an order to vacate the premises for unsafe living conditions, which we did. And then each of these court separate orders, there were several different actions that came into play, and in those orders were allowed to state the remediation conditions and how they're able to come back to the health department to get the approval for us to pull that order for them to re-inhabit their home. So, and then they're just not following those orders. So these are for legal action to start for the enforcement.
3221 750 West.
850.
My bad. And the other one was, where on State Road 56?
3027
East.
East State Road 56.
Yeah.
So is it north 850 west or is it?
It says north 850
Yeah.
west.
That's what I had north.
I know, I'm just making, I'm gonna make a motion, I just wanna make sure I got the right ones on there, so. So I make a motion that we approve moving forward with the enforcement actions on 3221 North 850 West and 3027 East State Road 56 as, proposed, submitted as, directed by, the health department.
I second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
Thank you for your, that's, yeah. I know about one of them.
Okay, John, come on down, John.
Jason's at home making pies, so.
And card,
Yeah, and cards.
got the printer running.
Yeah. So I have let's say maintenance service agreement with Midwestern Electric. The county only has one traffic light and we're responsible for it. A few months ago, it did go down on a Saturday night, so I spent my evening with the guy from Midwestern Electric on a Saturday night till about midnight, trying to repair it. We've got it repaired, it's working properly. Then we realized that we don't have any type of service contract or an agreement. So that's what this is. So we're gonna set up, a yearly service for that. We'll go through the cabinet, we'll actually clean it. Go through everything, make sure everything's working properly, anything outdated, we'll change it. Try to keep it in working order.
Yeah, the last time Jason and I was out there, it was ants, remember?
Yeah, and we still have a problem.
Millions of ants, it was, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, we still have a problem with that. I think I just need one signature.
So I'll do that on the motion. I'll make motion.
Yeah,
Transparent.
yeah, I make a motion, we go with Midwestern Electric Traffic Signal Maintenance Agreement here with for the county for our stoplight, our one and only
I want
stoplight.
all this stuff.
I second that.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
So moved. Sign this, yeah, okay.
I started to get up and dance.
Sign after I got
Yeah.
a couple other things. to do.
Okay, I need to talk to you too, okay.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Tom.
you. Judy, I saw her back there.
Commissioners, thank you for having me. I'm Judy Turpinning. I'm the Director of the Public Library. Currently, we have an opening for the County Commissioners appointee on the library board. Terry Phillips has decided to retire at the end of his term. It's ending June 30th, and we are grateful and thankful for all the many decades of service that he's given the library. So
Good man.
it is with great pleasure that I would like to suggest Christy Amick as the next appointee by the county commissioners, but as you know, it is totally up to you, so. Do you have any questions?
I was gonna be joking, so I'm not sure we could trust this family, but.
But it
Just-
comes from
uh,
recommendation.
No, yeah, but we'll just.
This wasn't enough.
He's doing this willingly?
Yeah, I know. Keep an eye on her.
So I make a motion that we appoint Christy Amick to the Jefferson County Public Library Board. Do we have a term? Is it?
It's for 4 years, so
For
we'll
4
start
years.
July 1st and run through
2030.
2030.
Yeah.
2030.
So July 1st through June of 2030.
I second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. So moved.
Thank you, and you should have that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fabulous. Thank you very much.
Okay. Department updates. Who wants to go first? Trish?
I don't have a lot. Sorry.
I updated the county council on how we're going financially with the new building. Brian's telling me, that everything seems to still be on track, they're ready, releasing money at the end of this month. They were bore sampling out there yesterday, or day before yesterday and yesterday. I think it's loud.
It is, but yeah.
Yeah, the dogs were very concerned about it. We are at max capacity, but we started yesterday afternoon a price your own adoption event. So we're letting people pick their own price to adopt. We've adopted 4 animals since then, and everybody paid the full amount for their adoption. So but it's getting people in the door, I guess. So hopefully we'll
If it works.
get a couple of cages opened up over the weekend, and that's it. Other than that, we're just trucking along.
Keep your fingers crossed.
Mhm. You're doing a good job.
Yeah. Thank you for what you've done.
Mhm.
Okay, Matt won't be here. I think he's in Corridon, so Brandon?
I don't have any updates, but if you have any questions, I'll. I'm ready for that answer, yes.
Good, thank you.
Sure.
Come on down, John.
Back again.
We don't have any pies, but
Or cards, sorry.
I'll take you over to Walmart and get you Mary Stouffer's or whatever, if that'll help.
I don't have much, so Mara has finished paving on Thomas Hill. It looks really good. Some spots on there, we'll have to put some riprap in. They are actually on 175 north today. They might actually still be out there. They were planning on finishing that road today, as far as I'm aware. I know we had a little bit of rain, so it might have scared them off, I don't know. Doe Run's still on track. That's projected to be done in probably 3 weeks. It's looking really good. We are closing 600 West. It's gonna be between Interstate Block and Chicken Run for some bridge work. That's gonna be on Tuesday. Of course, weather permitting. And then spoke with FEMA today on some of our projects that we got going on with them. We're still on track. I got a meeting with Homeland next week to take care of some discrepancies that FEMA's given us, so hopefully we'll get that taken care of.
Who wins that battle? Homeland or FEMA?
I don't know, I'll let
Okay.
them
All right.
duel it out.
I wonder.
Their Homeland's on our side with a lot of it, so they've been butting heads with FEMA there for a little while. That's all I've got. Any questions? All
Thank you.
right, thank you.
Haven't taken the truck on more gravel roads, have you?
No,
Very good.
no.
Jason's is more fun.
Yeah.
Oh. Fucking smile between.
Trash sounds like an NBA team, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, things continue to go well. I don't have a whole lot as far as updates with us. We do have, our first female, but the third JCAP cohort, they graduate next week. We have 3 that are graduating. However, we start out with 7. But most of those, we had 1 that was removed from the program, but the rest of them either had DOC sentences or were released early. However, they wanted to get that extra support in jail, so we opened that up. I think that's gonna help. We are gonna start, I think we're doing 2 weeks or 3 weeks in between, but we are going to then start a second female cohort for the 4th one. I talked with the sheriff's department. They're working to get a JCAP officer hired, so then we can have somebody with that group the whole time. So I think that will be extremely beneficial for that program. Things continue on as normal as far as day-to-day ops. DOC informed us that they will send out the allocations to the JRAC, the state JRAC, on the 26th, and then we'll get our allocation from them hopefully on the 29th. Fingers crossed that there's not big hacks in that.
the state says that they had an $11 million cut statewide. To be honest, I don't know, their math doesn't math with us. But however, they did tell us at the spring, directors conference that every county is getting cut. I just hope that it's minimal. I mean, they cut us 206,000 last year, so I hope that that is taken into account, but I won't have more to give you guys until they are give us those numbers. Just to kind of give you guys some general numbers, right now, we have approximately 1,300 active people on with us. Some of those are pre-trial, so they may not be directly reporting. It's more of a tracking to make sure that they attend their court hearings and things like that. We have about 900 to 1,000 who are actively coming into our office and receiving services. So I feel really positive about that. But things continue to go well. I think next month will be where I'm maybe not so sure when I'm trying to figure out budgets and things like that, but I will keep you guys all updated on that. I talked with my exec team about working on, and I don't know how much I can send it to you guys, but about working on our policy and procedures. When I was looking at some of those, they weren't updated probably from 22 to when I took directorship last year. So I want to make sure that what we're practicing is in there and vice versa. So, but I'll send that out to you guys and any updates and things like that. So it's kind of admin things that I'm working on. Questions for me? Oh, all right. Thanks,
Keep up
everyone.
the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
About the same length, I don't know, it's.
But I'm more fun.
I don't know about that.
He's just back to drink his water last meeting.
Mr. Brian.
So just a couple of things. Ready projects, the animal shelter and the campground. I've been talking to the RDA. Both projects are in what they call pre-commitment review by the IEDC. They did ask for more revisions late last week on the campground documentation. So it's frustrating, it sounds bad, but as I understand, those modifications were requested by Ernst & Young, which means IEDC's finished their part and now it's gone to the compliance piece. So that it moved, I guess is what I'm saying. So they want to.
Could be a good sign,
Actually
right?
moved a little bit. IEDC, they're sticking by their objective of having these things reviewed by June 30th. So it's today, 11, 12, 11. So yeah, clock's ticking. There is a RDA meeting tomorrow. I don't anticipate any word there. I actually talked to them today, see if it was worth driving to New Albany to go, and they said no reason to.
Oh, it's gonna be a big meeting, you better be.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, don't come.
But no, I'll join virtually, but I'm. But anyway. 3 weeks, we should know something, you know. I don't anticipate any issues. I've been talking to folks at the RDA and don't see any problems, so hopefully unless something jumps up that we're not expecting, we're moving forward there, so.
You feel confident with that?
It's
Based on our history.
Edge of my bed, so. The animal shelter, so the shelter site itself, of course, you know, Ivy Tech's gonna donate the property deal to the county, so they have finished their survey. That's all finished. They're waiting on, they've gotten one appraisal, they're waiting on the second appraisal. At that point, they have to get all the stuff done on their end to, you know, they're a state agency, so they got a lot of hoops to jump through. They anticipate transferring the property in August, so we're still a couple months away on that, but it is moving. They contacted me a few days ago asking about how we want to do the property transfer, so I got them in touch with Patrick McGrath. And they're coordinating how they're gonna do that, so let them talk to each other. So don't see any red flags there. As Tricia said, the soil borings were done this week by Priority Engineering. They're gonna send those samples off for analysis and then they get the report, send that to the architect and civil engineer, so they can do the foundation requirements that we need for the design work there, so that's going. I think the borings in the parking area are they're boring to 10 feet, but where the building is gonna be, they're gonna clear down to 20 feet, so it's a big rig they had over there, it's significant. So that's done.
far as the campground, nothing, just still waiting on RDA. I did check in with our prospective campground operator. They're waiting patiently to hear something from us, and they're ready to move forward once we got something. And lastly, the parks plan, got another update from Don Lopp, our consultant who's working on that. Everything's on track, still working on data collection. Got a few pieces he's still working on. He's got the data collection on natural features, man-made features, and the socioeconomic data complete. And he's gonna have rough drafts of those narratives for the park board to review he says by June 22nd. So he's right on track with his chart that he sent us at the beginning of the project where he anticipated being. So, and he's also starting to talk about some of the public meetings that we're gonna be having, starting to think about those. So everything's on track there. So nothing really new to report. Any questions for me?
You're probably at least on the campground, figure out I mean, we have an idea on the project delivery method we want to go through, but find out those steps that are needed. And because if we're given the money at the end of the July and we gotta have something,
I do.
right?
Yeah.
So,
And it's gotta be in line with our
right, yeah,
budget template we submitted.
yeah,
Yeah,
so, but just think about it, just
okay.
do your magic with Indiana code and Chat GPT but see lay out the steps that we gotta follow, because
Okay,
no sense waiting until we get the money and then
Yep.
trying to figure that out. But if you get a chance to look through some of that stuff and
Yeah.
just,
and we'll have the same constraints with the
Right.
filter,
Right.
but I think we're
so,
a little better shape.
yeah. You can hang on to the soil boring.
Yeah,
There we
yeah.
go.
Keep that receipt. Okay. Anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Haley, you have anything there?
Sure, I have good news. We submitted settlement, and on our very first submission, we received pre-approval. This is our first settlement with Lao Financial and Lao Tax. And everything went smooth compared to usual, so we were excited with those results. The local units will be receiving their distributions tomorrow by EFT. And they'll be receiving those Form 22s in their email first thing in the morning. I have been in contact to have my kickoff meeting with TMA to do our homestead audit. That is, kind of wanted to wait until after tax bills went out. And we did settlement, so we will be starting that soon, so residents may receive information. Possibly from a third-party source that looks like they need to call a number or confirm that they do live at the residence. And per my agreement with them, we will be going back on anyone that we find fraudulent homesteads on. So I'm hoping we have all honest citizens in Jefferson County, but there could be an instance or two that we will have to penalize the people that have been filing fraudulently. So I look for uptick in calls for that. But other than that, the office seems to be going pretty smooth.
Thank you.
That's new to Juvie Center.
So I said at the last meeting, people ask about a moratorium, so I asked our attorney about that, and so he said that it's really a zoning amendment, and says may be initiated by the plan commission or the commissioners. Once it's initiated, the plan commission is required to hold a public hearing. The plan commission must certify the proposal to the commissioners, and then, like we did last time, we have the ability to approve, reject, or modify the proposal. So those are the steps that he brought up, so we can talk to plan commission and see if there's any, or find out what it would include. I mean, I think a lot of the questions that have been brought up will be answered when the building permit application gets submitted, and it's not, once again, the only decision that's been made is that a data center fits in a heavy industrial area. And people are wondering why we don't know, but you wouldn't know if it was a chemical plant or if it was a steel manufacturing plant, you wouldn't know these details until that next step, because no one would design a facility to go somewhere if they didn't know it was gonna be built there. I mean, just like when we moved the animal shelter from behind the jail to the new location, there had to be a whole
And
new.
know that they had water and gas.
Well, right, I mean, there's all that, but there, well, what's the foundation? I
Right.
mean, right. And an army story. So when we built this plant out on Johnston Island, when I was with it had a certain seismic zone, and we thought we could take it and build it in Utah with pretty much the same thing. Were we sorely mistaken? The seismic zone was so different. The building was,
Wouldn't support it.
well, it had to be so different. I mean, anyway, so there's a lot of changes, just moving things around. So no one has anything designed for a specific location until they know they're gonna build there, and then they design it from there. So.
Okay. One thing I've got, Heather White, our human resources officer, she lost her mother, I believe it was Saturday, so keep her in your thoughts and prayers and the family, so. Okay, that being said, we will move on to public comment. So who would,
You need to go to the meeting.
if you would, please, just state your name and address.
My name and address.
Whatever. Whatever's easiest.
The meeting guidelines are up on the podium.
Yeah, so it tells you right up there the things that you're.
My name is Janice Klepfer, and I live at 7878 West State Road 56. And so you went through that pretty quickly. What's the first step of a moratorium? And
So
who gets
either-
that ball rolling?
Either it says a zoning amendment, which is the moratorium, would be initiated by the plan commission or the commissioners. And regardless of which one, the plan commission has to hold a public hearing. Then they need to certify the proposal to the commissioners, and then the commissioners can decide whether to approve, reject, or modify the proposal.
So you all can start a moratorium, right? Because you're the commissioners.
If
You can get the
we
ball
think
rolling.
it's, if we think, so, I mean, we need to hear what's the reason that a moratorium needs to be started, based on the information we know. If it's gonna be just, we don't want a data center. I mean, it's been interesting. There's been electricity, water requirements, and I've also heard from someone who did an interview that it's what's going on in the data center, so.
But it's not gonna affect this data center. It would affect another.
Any,
This would be future, it'd be
Right.
Future.
just like the solar panels. We did a moratorium until we got the UDO tweak, but we could not nullify because they were grandfathered. They already had
So I understand.
their paperwork in.
But
Yeah.
I think many people would like that to be, because there may be another one in the works. So.
But once again, why? Would be the question. I mean, what are the specific reasons? Because the UDO went through the process of public input, right? And everybody had their opportunity to say whether they liked it or they didn't, and now all of a sudden something happens, and we're like, well, we don't like it now. So
Well, we have information.
what new information?
Data
Just a data center? But yeah,
center information and the negative impacts from those. But anyway, that's.
but we don't know the specifics on anyone. That's why I mean, we continue to say the only decision that's been made is that the zoning administrator decided that a data center can fit in a heavy industrial area. And I get the feeling that people think, well, we're gonna take our hands off and not do anything with it. No, they still have to go through a building permit application, and that's where the particulars are, and that's where we review it. We, an engineering firm, will review it to make sure that it's not going to impact the area like the concerns that have been raised. So,
That's what I wanted to talk about.
but once again, we don't know the specifics on any of them. So you can say, well, it's water or it's electricity, and we'll take those, but when we do the review of a building application, it's gotta be able to fit in that area.
But
If
we
it
don't
doesn't,
do a moratorium, then another one can submit a plan. In the meantime,
but what are we gonna tell them? We just don't like it? Is that gonna be our reply to
that
someone who wants
we
to?
need more review of what the negative consequences could be by studying
But you-
their
But
communities.
once again, you don't know any specifics about this one, so you can't, what are you gonna push back against in that case? I mean, until they get to a point that they can submit a detailed design where we can review their requirements. I mean, you can say, well, this one had a negative impact. Well, I don't know where it was built, or we don't know where it was built, what the resources there were compared to what another place might have. I mean, it would be a lot of, I'm not sure what you would be able to compare it to if you did all of that research and found out, well, here it was bad. Okay, that's not in another location though. So we don't know until we get to that next step. And then if it can't fit in, we're not gonna say, yeah, go ahead and build it anyway. I mean,
Being built.
so, I mean, we,
Stop it at this point?
can we stop it at this point?
Could stop it.
Well, the first one is already
Well,
been
But
submitted.
it can't stop. You're implying that if we found
Well,
more
if-
information, it couldn't stop.
No, no. I'm saying, what kind of information could you come up with that would say, a hypothetical one couldn't fit somewhere else in the county? You could go to wherever you wanted in the country and find out, well, that data center didn't fit in that location. Well, that location probably has so many different things to whatever location has been selected that how can you compare those two? So if we're just gonna say, well, we don't like it and we think it has negative impacts, we don't know those impacts until we get to that point. And at that point, we can say yes or no. We can say, we're not gonna give you a building permit, so they can't build it. But once again, we don't know that kind of information until someone reaches that point where they have a design and we're gonna have to have an independent engineering firm look through it and say, yeah, that'll fit, or no, it won't fit. And we're not gonna say, well, we don't care what you say, we're gonna do it anyway. I mean, that would be silly.
Well,
So,
even after the permit, it has to pass state and.
right, there's other things too.
DNR. It's
State
not,
wants them, the state and the
Well,
federal.
but-
They're pushing it through.
Well, that may be true, but I don't think IDEM is gonna say, we don't care, we'll let you go anyway, all right? But I mean, I would, yeah, I just don't believe that's the
think so.
case, but. And I agree, the state wants them, the state has encouraged them. And so that's why they're coming, but at the same time, once again, we don't know, we can say we don't like them, okay, that's fair, I understand that. But we don't know any of the particulars about anyone, the one going in JPG or proposed to go in JPG or anyone else to go anywhere in the county. So once again, we could try to look at what we want to change, but we don't even know what, change what. Make a change just for the sake of making a change. I mean, we would spend a lot of time, and I don't know at the end of the day that we would have made anything any better until, once again, until we know what the particulars are, the specifics of one that's gonna be built, and we have a chance to review that. Then we can make, oh no, that takes too much water, we're not gonna do that. Or it takes too much electricity, we're not gonna do that. So that's what the reviews would do, and I understand the concerns, and I think no one's gonna say, oh, we don't have those concerns. Well, I mean, once again, that's why we would do that review, but to ask them now, when they don't have a design, I don't know what you could. Yeah. It would be
So you
difficult.
haven't heard of another one in the works to be.
I can't say I haven't heard of one, but I mean, once again, I mean. I don't know if they're gonna go forward. I mean, I've heard of several going around, but you know.
For this county?
But in the state is encouraging them to come, you know? So if you have a problem with that, well, then maybe we ought to go up to Indianapolis and voice that concern. So.
Anyway, let me do my original thing, because I got off track with the moratorium. So I'm new to how county government works. In the last 2 months, I've had a lot of education. You see me in a lot of meetings. I'm sorry, I feel like I live here. But I don't want to say anything that's wrong, and I don't want to spread false information, and I want to make sure that I ask the right questions of the right group, the zoning board or the county council or the commissioners. So here's my thing for tonight. And this is all that I took off from proposed JPG data center could generate 60 million in taxes annually by Bob Demery, April 1st, 2026. So the plan to develop the 529 acre data center has been submitted to the Jefferson County. The development plan was submitted in February and approved pending compliance with federal and state permits. So have you all seen the development plan? Can anybody see the development plan?
You can go down to the surveyor's office and there's a copy there.
And you guys have read all through the development plan, all of it?
I haven't read all of it, but
Okay.
But once again, I mean, the particulars that you want are not there yet. And I know people are like, well, how can you approve it? Well, once again, the only decision that's been made is that a data center fits in a heavy industrial zone.
That it's a warehouse.
Well, okay, now read the UDO
I did.
and you can't say, is it look like a warehouse? Sure. But it has to be similar to the 8 different things that are listed in the UDO that go in a heavy industrial area. That's what the UDO says. So,
I read the exact definition of a warehouse, but anyway. Daniel
but did your
said,
chemical plant, did you read that one?
I read chemical plant.
Steel plant? Okay, so it had to be something like those. Something like those. You know how much water a chemical plant uses?
I do not.
It uses a bunch. So, but you know, once again, if someone came in and wanted to put a chemical plant in JPG, you know what the zoning administrator would say?
Go ahead.
Well, once again, it is only that determination that's been made. Nothing else. Do they have to go through all the reviews? Yes. So once they have those particulars, you know, a chemical plant is not gonna come in here with a detailed design. Once again, just like at a data center, get ready to build in JPG without knowing if they can go in there or not. I mean, I think it's pretty clear on that one, since it is specifically identified in the UDO as permissible. They would be, there'd probably be legal action against the county if they came in and the county said, no, you can't build there, without going through the other steps, so.
Daniel said infrastructure upgrades related to the data center will be funded 100% by the project. Data center costs are not shouldered by ratepayers. He said the project will be paying to add capacity and upgrades to aging substations, transmission lines, and generation. We want to pay for everything and we will do that. Anything that would need to be upgraded because of this project, we're paying for it. The project also addresses concerns about water usage. We specified an advanced cooling system called a closed loop cooling system. It operates like a car radiator. You fill it up once, and then the fluid just cycles around there, does not evaporate. You only change the fluid once about every 10 years. Basically, you fill it up with water and that's it. Closed loop cooling system does not consume water for cooling and does not generate industrial wastewater flows. The project will use the existing infrastructure for water with the on-site tower and the state licensed private sewer. Does not involve tapping groundwater. The tax base would be higher than the entire rest of the county combined. Money will support schools, roads, social services, and end up lowering property taxes for homeowners and farmers. So these are seems like the selling points of it. Whose job is it to watch to make sure that's what happens, that we're not paying for the electricity, that we're not providing the water? Whose job is it to watch for that? Because they've said, we're taking care of all of it. It's not gonna cost anybody else anything. We're paying 100% of it. Who watches that?
So when they submit their I'll go back to what I said earlier, when they submit their detailed design, that better match up with what they said, right? So, I mean,
Correct me if I'm wrong, didn't the state pass a law that they are responsible for upgrade?
for electrical, yes, so.
So if they would say have to build a substation there and feed it, we'll say from the substation by the battery farm, they have to pay for that line, they have to pay for A to Z. So Duke can't come back and say, well, we had to build a substation, so we're gonna pass it on to you.
Okay.
That's my understanding, but Duke can raise their
You
rate.
know, at our,
They can raise the rates tomorrow if they want
if
to.
we-
Well, we're scheduled for rate increases for the next 2 years. They
Yes.
go through a
And
regulatory
that has
commission.
nothing to do with whatever
Right.
happens out there, so.
I mean, at our last meeting, we had a guy here and he had a map of the US. And I think the lowest that electrical rates had gone up in the country were 8%. Ours were 10,
10.
and I think the highest was like 14%. So, and that's over the last several years. So the rates are already been going up. I mean, when you don't touch your electrical infrastructure in years, you're gonna pay a penalty because it's,
They're gonna pay for all their own stuff. How will we know when the actual main plan has been submitted for approval? How will we know if this
the
plan?
building permit application. I think it's gonna come out on the county website, but once we know, we can let people know.
Okay. And anybody can get a copy.
Public.
Okay. So you said the other night that an engineering firm would be hired to look the plan over before approval.
what qualifications does that engineering firm have to have? Who decides what engineering firm? And who, we would need to make sure that they don't have any ties to data centers. That they don't just say, yep.
So your view of engineers that have a professional engineering license is pretty low. If you think they will go out there, sign their names to documents, but really not have anything.
Pushing them through,
That doesn't matter. A professional engineer, his name is on the line. He is not gonna sign that thing. He's gonna lose his license if he does stuff like that. So you probably won't find one practicing that's done that because he'll no longer have his license.
How will you choose the engineering firm? Do you have some that you're looking at already?
Well, we've started looking, yeah. I mean, we have to look for those that, you know, have the capacity to do these sorts of things.
They're in Indiana.
Well, I don't know. Once again, we've just kind of started looking, you know, I mean, what if they're not in Indiana? Is that okay?
But we have to have one pretty soon. As soon as the plan comes in, we need the engineering firm to start looking at it, right?
Sure. I mean, I don't know what the date is for I think there's probably another date out there that they're waiting to see if anything happens, and then maybe they'll start looking at, because once again, they don't have a detailed design for a data center is not gonna be something that they just pull up on their computer screen and hit print. So they've got to do the detailed design. I mean, yeah, they've taken the boards out there just like we did for the animal shelter, but the foundations, I mean, you're gonna have to design it for whatever the spoil is out there, you know? Have they done borings? I believe they have. But so they've got that data, but once again, they haven't started once again, they're not gonna spend a lot of money on a detailed design when they don't know they're gonna be able to build something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Mary Hampton at 315 St. Michael's Avenue. Saw you guys 2 weeks ago. I was sad to not see you at the city hall, around getting educated, as we were saying. Because I think one of my concerns when we hear about the moratorium and that people aren't bringing, valid concerns.
Well,
Is that there were 600 people at the zoning council expressing concerns. And then we don't actually know how many weren't allowed into that building. That for me, it would make sense that if we see that many Jefferson County Hoosiers being like, I don't want this, that it would make sense to open up a public hearing.
so to assume that
And I would like to hear everyone's.
everybody that was at the Board of Zoning Appeal meeting was anti-data center would be a stretch.
Of
So-
people who talked, I don't think it is.
There-
a threat.
well, there
The
weren't-
percentage was
there
like
weren't-
10 to 90%,
Yeah, okay, so,
right?
you know, why aren't people coming up and speaking against or in favor of it?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they? Can you tell me?
Because they're nervous, but that's why.
They're getting bullied all over the place. Death threats are going to a guy that's proposed this to this county. His family had to leave the county. Is that right?
No, and
Well, then-
nowhere
then-
have we
then-
proposed violence, nor do we condone it. We worked with Daniel to not show up because of that fear, right? And he still didn't submit anything for the public to hear. So we are not, I mean, yes, I don't think violence is the answer by any means. I don't think anyone is calling for violence, but we are calling for transparency and accountability from our government,
when
which
his-
is valid.
When his niece got up and read out the threats that were made to him and his family, I didn't hear anyone say, well, people shouldn't be doing that.
Well, I mean, that wasn't what that state was for. And at our town hall, if you had been there, multiple times we called for no violence against him and not to threaten him. Right? So yes, we are vocal about it. And that was not what that was for, right? We were told not to talk about anything but the data center. So we were following the rules. That actually wasn't following the rules. Right?
Okay.
And so I'm just asking, and I would love to hear, because my other thing is, I would love to know, and the question I was originally gonna come with was, what are you concerned about with the data center? Like, I would love.
I mean, the things that you're talking about, I hope they're telling the truth, but once again, we won't know until they submit a building permit application to be able to say, okay, yeah, you've got your closed loop system, your draw on the water is minimal,
Yeah,
okay? Your electricity, I mean, I'm pretty sure they've talked to Duke and they had to have talked to Duke. The grid,
There's been none, we looked for, there is no, submission to being added to the grid, which is also concerning, which would imply potentially generators, which actually would be significantly less, and they've also told us they're gonna be off grid. And so
Well, so
Again, we don't know.
when the
Who told
state,
you they're gonna be off grid?
Daniel Ford, and it's in the application, and it's what he told Eli and Sarah, who talked to him last week.
so I mean, so the state has said either you do the upgrades or you provide your own electricity generation. And while I know a lot of people have said diesel generators, I'm not sure anyone out there is looking at diesel generators as a way to supplement electricity right now because one, the price of diesel and, you know, but in a case when you have to have a backup system, yeah. So
But
there
this
probably
would be a
will
great
be.
reason to have an ordinance that helps to define when a diesel generator could be used for the benefit of the citizens, right? Because again, we
So
know.
if we have one at the jail,
Mhm.
would you think that's a benefit for the citizens?
Well, I'm assuming, I mean, like the amount of diesel generator, how many do you have at the jail?
We got a monster.
Yeah, but just one, imagine like 50 of those, like.
Like you, once again, you're guessing at numbers here until we get a detailed design, we have no idea on what is gonna be included, what is not. So,
But also, the way we get to dictate what is included in the design is an ordinance. Yes or no?
we get to dictate, so we're gonna dictate to businesses what they can and can't do in that area. I'm not
Well,
sure.
that's true everywhere. There's ordinance, I mean, that's what an ordinance and what a commissioner's job is to make sure businesses aren't harming citizens while also bringing in income,
that's-
right? The issue, and I emailed this to you, Stephanie, is the
My name's
speed.
Heather.
Oh, sorry, Heather.
problem.
You probably did it to Sarah, but Sarah couldn't.
Oh, wait, I think it was Sarah, sorry. Sorry, I couldn't find your emails online. But so I emailed.
Yeah, if you go down a little bit further on the page, all three of them are there.
I clicked all over, they might have been, yeah, I will look again. But back to. I do think that is what an ordinance does, and the reason it's important is because. We don't rely on businesses to do what's best for citizens, right? They're watching their bottom line, which is their job, so what's the job for watching citizens' well-being? Whose job is that? In relation.
So yeah, I would, since I work for a big company, I would have to differ with you in that big companies don't care about the citizens around them. They gotta live there. Those people are gonna live in those areas. It's not like they just plant and they live on the plant. So to just flat assume that businesses don't care and that they're only driven by their bottom line is probably a little jaded and
Yeah, but it's also based off of seeing how data centers are impacting citizens. Like you say, we can't know, this is the third largest in the world, which is one of the reasons we can't know, right? It has not been done before. The second largest is now not going to be the second largest because they're like, oh, let us listen to the citizens and decrease. Louisville just passed a ban or an ordinance, a moratorium on hyperscale, and then are looking at ordinances for a regular size. 7.1 million square feet is humongous and does not exist anywhere. And going back to what the zoning was, we were saying it deserves a special exception, and then we would have gotten more of the details, right? 7.1 square million, it's huge. And I would just love to hear your guys' thoughts on this as well. What are your fears about data centers and or ordinances or moratoriums? Would you like to go first? Sorry.
I'm trying to think that last thing you said, but to me, you're gonna have to show me the negatives, and right now it's just hearsay.
Yeah.
Cause we don't know, okay, the lighting. What's the lighting gonna be? Is it gonna be wall packed, shining down on the ground, which is not gonna affect anybody, right? It's just like the buildings over here on Wilson Avenue. Okay. Pollution, what's it gonna put out? It's not gonna put out wastewater or chemicals that I know of. The closed loop is tested like we do the courthouse quarterly, and if it needs added chemicals, it gets it. So I need to see some negatives. To me, the location outweighs the negatives.
Okay. I appreciate your.
I mean,
when she's finished, you can get up and speak.
turn?
Yes.
Yeah, well, to me, on the outside looking in, I don't, where the location, I'm with Bobby, where the location is. There's not a whole lot you can do out there. You know, data centers are scary to a lot of people. I have some in my family. Disagree, you know, that they don't want to see it out there either. So I think we all have. I got a cousin who's a drug addict, and I don't like to see that. I've got a cousin who's a mental, and we don't have a mental health facility in this town. I see this generating those kind of facilities that we can help people with. Right now, our county doesn't collect a lot of taxes. We are 90, out of 94 counties, we are 91 lowest.
And you're 91 on income tax.
That we collect in. We don't have a lot to help people. If people want to be off the gravel roads. At all 300 and some miles is like $16 million. We've looked at that. We ain't got that. They'll never have that. I see some potential and you know, there's people gonna argue no matter what we say. Then the other thing I look at is everybody here tonight drove a car. 600 million gallons of crude or of used motor oil goes to car dealerships every year. What do they do with it? Don't answer that. Every year, car dealerships collect 60 million gallons of antifreeze. What do they do with that? I know, I looked it up. Pros and cons. We need to close all the dealerships in around town, get rid of all the service shops and quit driving cars. Not a person here drove in a horse and buggy or bicycle or walked tonight. So to me, I get to kind of like, what the technology is coming. And what better place in this county to put one to help our citizenry? That's how I look at it. And yeah, I don't like that. I work with some guys, I'm like Dave, I work for a big company and we have young people coming to work for us. This is how they want to do their job instead of get out and do physical labor. So I'm not keen on this, but it's not coming, it's here. So that's me.
Yeah, and my only request is if you can look at what the econ professor talked about, and I sent that to unknown lady, sorry. And then we met with an ERA specialist last year, or not last week as well. And like Indiana, last year, maybe, I'm pretty sure it's just in 1 year, 650 million lost in taxes because of tax abatements for data centers. And I think one of the concerns, the amount of money per job is like astronomically different than a dealership and the number of jobs. And so I just really invite, like, I do understand, right, that yes, there's pollution, yes, there's all of these things, but I personally don't see it paying off other than this lump sum. Also, I'm assuming the lump sum potentially could be significantly less than if we didn't do abatements and other things. And so I just invite us to be fully informed, because the other issue with abatements is usually they're 25 to 50-year long abatements, and it really harms the communities. There's well research about how abatements are actually not paying off. We lose, I believe, like 25 cents on the dollar for every abatement we offer. And so again, I would be happy to like talk specifics around some of this. And I do think there are really informed citizens who want to talk specifics. I'm just not quite sure how or when we get to do that. And again, that's where I feel like a moratorium does make sense. Like 50% of the data centers were scraped last year. I don't think we are special. I do think so I just invite that. I do think was like some real thoughtfulness around this. Because the other thing that was interesting, one last thought, is there were at least 10 people, or maybe 5, I won't exaggerate, that went to the BZA and were like, I Googled data centers and I found nothing. They were non-biased and they were like, what is good about a data center? And they found no information, right? And so that's just where I don't quite, other than the 60 million that we are getting, right? What is it offering our county? It is not jobs. That has been debunked. And so.
Well, you say that, but you don't know. That's the thing that gets me. You can, stop. You can say that data centers don't, but you don't know what this one's gonna be like until we get those specifics and we get a chance to review things.
But how do you ever know anything if it's not based on things that were previously done? That's what I don't understand. Like that is.
Well, you will talk, everyone talks about it. It's a hyper scale, but then at the same time, you say, well, it has the jobs like a regular one. I'm not sure what, those don't match up.
10
So,
to 15 times 7 buildings is 100 jobs for a 7.1 million square feet. That is not what would be at a dealership of that size. Right? So I am multiplying it by the 7 buildings. And so I just offer, and I would love, if you want to argue about jobs, show me
I don't-
where it would
well,
ever exist
I won't-
previously. Because that's what we learn is from past experience. Like that is a wild argument, so.
Until we get the specifics, we won't know. And so,
None of them.
I just want to ask a question, is all. You said you have a closed loop system at the courthouse, is that what you said?
Mhm.
So,
It's a chiller.
so how does that work? Let's say, you said you put chemicals in it when it needs them.
It's actually glycol because the chiller sits outside.
So what happens if there comes a break in that? So that's when the chemicals leak out to where they shouldn't be, right?
do you have a leak in your radiator system ever?
I don't have a radiator system. I don't know
Do you have a car?
You have a car?
This is
Do you have a
me trying, let me tell you this, just like she said, this is me trying to learn. I've never in my life got up and spoken at a public meeting. I'm trying to learn from you. You said something I want to understand.
Okay.
So yes, I have a car. So explain to me what happens, and I understand, it circulates the water and all that stuff. And it circulates antifreeze and what have you. So when we get a leak in that, it goes to the ground. So in that sense, this data center has 1,000,000 times the size of the radiator in my vehicle. And if we have a danger, we have a problem if a leak comes in that. So in that sense, yes, chemicals do go in the ground. Secondly, I know they flush radiators. I don't think I've ever had that done. And you mentioned the oil and the antifreeze and all that kind of stuff. What do they do with that? And where does it get disposed of? Is it treated somehow? Do we have to worry about that with this data center on a massive scale?
These will be monitored. And the state comes in and tells them what they have to do to monitor.
Okay.
So in other words, if they have a leak or an issue, they have to take care of it. So they're.
So I work at LG&E KU, Gent Power Plant. We have chemical skids and skids of different products. Everyone has to have a catch basin, which these data centers will have to have a catch basin big enough to catch any leak from a coolant system. If it's 1,000,000 gallon, they'll have to have 1,000,000 gallon catch basin, and we will see to that. And then that goes in that catch basin, and we suck it out into a truck that takes it to a recycle center, like antifreeze, and they take the benzol alcohol out of it and the metals, recycle it, and it gets put back in the jug. So, I mean, our country has done a very good job with recycling everything. The 600 million gallons of oil, we burn it out at the county garage in a furnace made to burn old oil.
Not
So-
600 million gallons.
55 gallon drum at a time in the antifreeze, in the 4.7 million cubic feet or 4.7 hundred tons of cubic carbon monoxide each passenger vehicle puts out. Guess what? It really doesn't get recycled. Catalytic converters help cutting it down, but they don't get rid of all of it. And we do the same thing over there. We suck water out of the river to cool the burn cycle of the power plant. And then that water never is let go back into the river after some of the chemicals that go through it. It comes out. I work by process water treatment. I clean the water, take all the dirty stuff out of it, put the water up in a process pond. It has to sit there before it can ever go back to the river. The government's making a new law called ZLD, zero. You can't put it back in the river. That's coming probably in 2 years. So, that chemical plant or that data center, they will have a catch basin. They'll have to have.
Okay.
It to protect the environment.
They will be mandated by the state to inform them of any
hazardous material they have on site. So in this essence, if it's glycol, if the chiller's sitting outside and for fear of it freezing up, the glycol will be listed with the state and they will have schedules that they have to, if something happens, they gotta do this. But it's not like having muriatic acid or chlorine or something like that, like the Madison Chemical has, but they're the same way. They're mandated, it's monitored. If something happens, state knows about it, so it won't go on for hours and run out on the ground. Just like if your radiator hose busts, you're gonna lose it out on the road. But like you
Okay.
said, it's not to that scale. I mean, I agree with you, but yeah.
And then two more questions, and I can't quote you verbatim where I found the research, but in reading. One of the things that I read is it says, you know, they talk about they're only gonna fill up the water, they're gonna use the water one time when they put it in, and it's gonna stay in there. Something I read said that's true for the first, I don't know if it's 5 years or 10 years. Then once that time frame goes, then they do it every year. So I think I say that to say we really should question them on that to make sure, because they're telling us they only do it once or once every 10 years. And according to what I read, it sounded like they do it once, they wait 10 years, and at that 10-year mark, then they begin to do it every year. So,
Well, I mean, so it's like radiator fluid, it's not, it's a little bit different, they've gone to polypropyl glycol, propylene glycol, sorry.
Propylene.
As ethylene, so it's supposed to be safer, but they will run that through and. I mean, they may have to, I can't, in a new system, as clean as that's gonna be, I don't, the stuff that they're gonna collect in it is not gonna. It's probably, I mean, the 10 years makes sense that you could do that, but I mean, you might have to take it out and then recharge it, but you wouldn't dump it, you couldn't, they wouldn't let you, the state wouldn't. Let you dump just propylene glycol on the ground or discharge it to the water system, unless you had a wastewater treatment plant. And I don't even know if you could treat
I don't think so.
propylene, yeah, I think that's one that you would have to collect and so.
well, I only mentioned that.
Yeah.
Just to bring it up, make sure it's out there. Then the other thing that I read, and I think I've lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
So anyway, there's just other research that has concerned me about what's really going to happen. And that was, you know, the water thing, like I said, they said, yes, that's true for the first 10 years. Then they switch it out and then it becomes every year. And then at that point, they would be draining our water resources, so to speak, to keep doing that. That's
Well,
why I bring that up.
yeah, I mean, when you buy that propylene glycol, it is, I don't know what it mixture, if it's 40% that and water or more, but I mean, so they're not gonna take water, it's gonna come packaged like that. They'll bring in I don't know if it's under a tanker or a totes, but they'll fill up their system with that and then cause like Ron said, someone will want that stuff because they clean it up and then they can sell it. So they're not gonna wanna just dump it to the ground or fill up with water. I mean, I think, you know, the water around here is probably not without doing some pretty significant treatment of it, it's not something, you know, all the hardness in the water here would not be something you'd want to put in a system like that. So they wouldn't, because you have a water softener at your house?
No, I
I
don't.
know, okay. It might
Okay,
help.
so I figured out what my other question
Oh.
was, tax abatements.
Sure,
Okay, so everything that I read says that their tax abatements go on for 50 years.
Property tax abatements typically are 10 years. And they typically work on they have 100% deduction, 90, 80, 70, 60. It keeps decreasing throughout the 10-year phase.
I mean,
But
so,
the
That's not even been approached
yeah,
yet.
Right.
yeah, they have said they don't want one, so,
And,
okay.
okay, so they've said they want no tax abatement whatsoever, so we won't be doing that. Whatever taxes come in, we get them. Or
I mean,
we get them, right?
Yeah, sure, but so, I mean, the thing if you listen to Andrew's hour-long talk the other night, but sorry, there are some, you know, there's some. It's 3%, but then there are things that cap that amount of property taxes, so you think, well, a tax abatement is a terrible thing. They're not asking for one, but you know, there are some things with a tax abatement that, you know, John over there, can we use property taxes for roads? The answer is no. Go ahead and just say no. So we can't. So if you could get funding elsewhere, but the other funding, they call them pilots, payment in lieu of taxes, could you use that for roads? Yes, you could. You can use those kinds of funds for a number of different things in the county that property taxes can't go for. So, I say all that, but they have not asked for one, and they've repeatedly said, we don't want one.
Yeah.
So, but there may be some benefits if we looked at it. I don't know where it's gonna end up. We were, once again, we don't know the details quite yet. The only,
And the other thing in that reading that I found was that typically people should ask for 1% so that they don't end up with nothing in the abatement process.
Sure.
You're saying, if they don't ask for any abatement and they pay all the taxes, great.
sure, I mean, she said the sliding scale, I've heard some people say they pay 50% the whole time.
City just gave the Hampton Inn one,
Sure,
if you read that in the paper.
I don't think.
The new Hampton Inn where Speedway was,
Mhm.
Hampton Inn's going in there.
They
Like,
get an abatement.
they started off, they paid zero the first year.
so, I mean,
But then they start paying after a year. It's not like
Then-
50 years, right?
It's 10
Right.
10 years, correct?
yeah, I mean, that one is 6, but I know people have been saying 50, but
I've never seen a.
10 years is the one that I've seen, and once again, they haven't asked for it, so.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to do some evaluation of, financially, what things are to see if there's other things, once again. Cause property taxes can go for certain things, but if you can give them a tax abatement and take those other funds and use them for elsewhere, it might be beneficial, but we haven't gotten there yet, cause we don't know. We don't know the finals until that, we keep going forward, so.
And that in the beginning, before it was even known that it was here, my comment was the exact same thing as yours. If we have to have a data center in this county, there's no better place for it than out there on Dean Ford. But then I've done all this studying and looking and seeing all these things that are harmful to our area.
So
And I don't think, we're talking about what other business can come in out there and that kind of stuff. Just from what I read about the other ones that are out and about, I don't think we're gonna get the other growth that we need and would like to have in this county with that data centers sitting out there.
you don't think they'll come once it's there?
Yeah. That's what
Well. Have you driven through River Ridge in Clark County?
I've been out there.
I mean, so it started, I mean, it's a little different because I would go north of the fire line, but south of the fire line, kind of similar, so. I don't think, they had a vision, but I don't know, they thought it would come true of what all has gone in out there. And so. Start off at warehousing, but now they have some manufacturing, they have a data center,
But they didn't start
Yeah,
off
but-
with the data center. They got one out there now, but they didn't start with that.
but you have to start. You have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
If you're gonna, once again, how long has that sat there with nothing going on?
A lot of years, I know.
Right. You just wanna keep waiting? I mean, that's the concern. We've waited for and hoping, but
I
guess
would-
what?
I am one of the people here that would have loved for River Ridge to have been down there when I was still working. I've driven to Columbus for 9.5 years for a good job. I've driven to Carrollton for a good job. I would have loved to see River Ridge down there when I was working. It came too late for me. I know people here need jobs. And the only comment I was making is, I feel like from what I've read, I don't think we're gonna get the kind of growth that we want if we do this first. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I am. I'm just making a comment because it's what I've read. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Becky Jackson, Baltimore Street. I have a couple of questions and then just a couple of statements. Number one, how many acres are included in this project?
I don't know for sure.
We'll say it was 1,800 being purchased and 600 or so was part of the actual project.
Okay, and I will make a statement and then I'm gonna tell you what I think part of the problem is here. Number one, the UDO did not address the data center, so it has not been reviewed. I'm gonna say it again. The UDO did not address data centers, so it has not been reviewed. And so that's why we need a moratorium on this, because people need for it to slow down. You're giving answers that you say you didn't have at the first, and now you have them whenever we bring something up. You have a reason for us not to bring it up. So that's what I felt during this meeting. This is my first one ever, but I plan on being on other ones. So again, a moratorium is going to be very important to the people of your county. I have never been a political or a person who, just like her, I've stood up in front of people, but not for these reasons. The data center was asked about solar, but it was ignored then. So is now the time for us to discuss those kinds of things too? And again, I'm just putting that out
So,
there.
yeah, I know. Okay, so solar for what?
Solar for helping to give the electricity. Say it again.
Where would you?
They should decide that out there, wherever it is that they're going to build for them to do that. Okay, so the reason I'm standing here today,
So, I mean, a data center needs power 24 hours a day.
yes,
Solar panel is gonna give you power 24 hours a day?
yes, they do.
They
I live
do.
in Phoenix,
How?
Arizona.
Well,
But
I'm
they
sorry,
do the
I'm sorry,
batteries.
when the sun goes down, they don't.
Quit generating.
So,
They store the energy. They store the energy and they can use it. Anyway, so the reason that I think that people are sitting here and that people have been to meetings, I was at several of them, there were thousands of people, and more than that, stood outside in the rain to get into meetings, is because we need.
there weren't thousands, okay? Stop stretching it. There may have been, I think the building holds 300, so maybe 600 maybe.
There were 600 in the building.
Okay, so
Anyway.
maybe close to 1,000. You're saying thousands. That wasn't true.
You argue with us.
So because you throw out information like it's fact,
I was
and it's
there.
not.
Were you there?
Yes, I was there.
I
I
was.
was.
Anyway, they were lined up clear out of the building and everything else. I did not count. Okay. The reason that I think people are so upset, there's now a battery thing being built out there. And I heard you connect that battery thing with the data center.
No.
I don't, okay, no, all right,
No.
then I was wrong in that. The transparency is where the issue lies. There was no transparency with all of this information. So if you would give us information before decisions are made, I think people would calm down. But, I hear, it sounds like you guys know who's building this. I do not. But anyway, I am asking you to be transparent before, so that we can come and get the information that you have before decisions are made. Because I think most of us feel like we are way behind the 8 ball in this. So that's all I have. I'm asking for a moratorium. And I don't know if there's anything else we can do to get that or where we need to go. But if you can help us with that and let us know, give us information, that's what we're here for. Thanks. The crap I would.
Over B 2685 West Deputy Pike Road. And if you will remember, at the end of our solar things, we've been going through this for 2 years. And we always feel like, just like she said, that there isn't transparency and we're always finding out after the fact and having to scramble and spending way too much time. We're not paid to come to the meetings, but we're having to spend a lot of time, Adam.
Excuse me. Is it your government? To say that you're not, to say, no. You're acting like the only way you get involved in government is if you get paid. That's ridiculous. If you're interested enough, and be interested enough, even when everything's just going okay.
Well,
So,
we've been through 2 years of solar, and let me tell you, it's getting very old, and now we've got this, which is even worse. And why we want the moratorium, I asked for a moratorium in the end of last summer or the beginning of fall, and my answer that I got from you, Warren spoke up and said, oh, it's covered in the UDO. And then you said, no, we don't need one. Well, obviously we did need one because we needed to find out more facts about data centers before we got the second largest one thrown on us in beautiful Madison, Indiana, which is countryside, and we would like to keep it that way. And you say, oh, it's at the Jefferson Proving Ground. Yes, that's true, but we're going to have power lines. If you look at, there's a little village in England, beautiful little village, but it has a huge, all these power lines now and a huge data center sitting to the side of it. That's not what we want in Madison. And one of the men spoke at one of the meetings and said, small industry, that would be great. It would produce jobs. This is not going to produce jobs. And if you read under President Biden's thing about data centers that was written, it said that people should have clean water, air, be healthy, and our children's futures. There are all kinds of things coming out about cancer causing from the air that's put out from them. Some of them don't run on diesel, they run on natural gas. You can't see it, but when they fly infrared things, you can see all this pollution coming out of it and all these fine particles. It also states in there that there are certain places they should be built and certain places that they shouldn't be built. And one of the places they should not be built are close to residential areas. You have people living right on the other side of that fence. We live 3 miles down the road. Clifty Park, the most beautiful park in Indiana, is 3.3 miles from that center. We have one of the most beautiful wildlife preserves right to the north of it, which has multiple endangered species, plants, all these things. It's like the natural world doesn't exist. I don't want to live, if I wanted to live in an industrial zone, I would be in Gary, Indiana, not beautiful little Madison, Indiana, which just won for one of the prettiest places in the whole country. And that's not going to do it. I want trust. I want to be able to trust my government. I want transparency. I want ethics, honesty, and accountability. And that's not too much to ask. We have a lady running right now that's getting her signatures in Saluda Township, and those are the things that she's running on. Rebecca Schaefer. And these are the things that we need. And have you done the evaluation?
You can't promote people for political means here, so
Promoting.
you most certainly were, so I don't care. Are you finished?
District, no,
Are you-
I'm not finished,
Well-
because if you're planning on building a campground right there next to that, then there needs to be an evaluation, because who would want to camp there if they're breathing air? If that place goes in and they're breathing air that comes from that, who would want, how safe would it be?
How far is Clifty Creek from State Park from IKE?
I live on it. I live on Clifty Creek. And
It's a mile. Yeah, the power generation plant. It's a mile from the campground. Do you hear people going camping and say, I don't want to camp there because the power plant's right there? Have you heard that?
It is a bit dangerous.
Sorry.
It's a whole
Sorry,
different.
it's 2 miles.
We are looking at a whole different size. This size is, you talk about power plants and chemical plants. Well, we have a chemical plant right across from our property on 62, right here in Madison, in the middle of Madison. That's been there a long time. It was there before everything was built up so much. But we're not talking about any of those things. We could talk about all those things together and they would not even be a percent of what this would be. To bring a data center, the second largest in the world, to dwarf this beautiful little town, you need to think about that. And I was sorry that you weren't at the meeting because it was very informative. We had Hanover College professors, people who know what they're talking about, and it's not, when you read the information, it's not how this data center or that data center. This is general information that is compiled by all different data centers, all different places, and the things that people have had to endure because of that. And they pick small places like this. They don't put them next to the 1%. They don't want to live next to those pollutants. They put them here, where we have small governments and it's easy pickings. And if we're having trouble from our state money, this state has always had an excess of money, and the state is squeezing small communities so that we will be forced
to do these kinds of things. So, I think you guys need to do your homework, stand behind the people, and we need a moratorium now. Not because we don't like it or this or that, because we want our children, especially children with asthma, to be able to survive to adulthood and to have lives like we've had. It's, we're getting on in the point, but what about our children and our grandchildren? What are we gonna leave them? We've worked for 50 years to build up a place and have it. And you're gonna take away my clean water, my well, perhaps my clean air, perhaps my health, make my electricity so high that I can't afford it. If we fought solar for 2 years so that our beautiful countryside wouldn't be fenced and covered with these metal panels that hold chemicals. Now, if you want to really do something about our power, then you need to find a company to supply solar panels to go on homes and businesses. In the last meeting, I spoke to you about the jail. Did you find out, Bobby, about whether, because you were proposing without any public input that I ever heard of, to put 50 acres of solar panel in the woods behind the jail. Did they ever say whether it was feasible?
We never proposed that at all.
Where you come up with.
I mean, so his proposal.
My proposal was to put solar panels on the roof.
Yes, but he also spoke at the last meeting about because I asked the details and he said that they were proposing 50 acres.
They were proposing.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, you said we were proposing.
No,
He submitted, no. I mean, you stop twisting stuff like that. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's always-
he came and made a proposal to us. Did we accept it? Did we say, yeah, let's go forward?
That's why I'm asking you what you decided.
We haven't decided anything yet. He was gonna talk to the council to see if they even thought money was available, but
No, you're twisting because I said.
no,
The last
you said we
time
proposed it. We did not propose it.
then he's the one. that
He's a
spoke about it.
consultant that came to our meeting and said, this is what we think you ought to do.
Okay, so.
What was my reply? Have you looked at the old jail? That was my reply. Have you looked at the mechanical systems at the old jail? Cause we're gonna do something there.
People get paranoid. We've been through this for 2 years. We want Jefferson County. Yes, I'm sure there's always gonna be growth, but we want the growth, healthy growth, productive growth. We don't want to be taken over by I don't wanna live in an industrial zone. Do you?
I mean, I wouldn't, I don't think I don't know how if you could put a house in an industrial zone, I'd have to check the UDO on that. I don't think you could. That's been a heavy industrial.
In our area.
They're-
What about the poor people that live right outside that fence? If they're using that fence
so-
on the south end to go in and out to build that thing, what are their lives gonna be like?
So you complained that there's not enough jobs and now you're complaining about the traffic going in there. I'm not sure where it balances out, cause those.
No,
There's gonna be traffic with any project.
not like that.
No.
And
What if GM come in and built 1,000 job plant? There wouldn't be traffic and trucks and
But
semis,
not in
and
a
then
country residential
it's
area.
gonna run
It's
24/7,
industrial
bringing
area.
materials in, hauling the vehicles out, so. You can't compare apples and oranges like that, cause it's not the
And
same.
I can compare is the data center that they just put in down in Charlestown, that they're just finishing stage 1 and stage 2. They are not going on with that because they don't have enough power to go on to stage 3 and stage 4. Now, in the spring, they may go ahead, but right now they have 2 stages. This one out here would be like 9 stages, from what I understand. They've just completed 2 and they don't have enough power to move on from that. So, that's a lot of power. And there's already been people coming on people's property where there are power stanchions looking over without written permission, without any type of permission, not saying who they were. Some new company that's called Cedarwood that's supposedly has a CEO of a local person. And I don't know, I don't know what all that is, but that's People need transparency, they need facts, and they need to be told before. You know, it's not father knows best. We're all involved in this. We want to be able to make these decisions that are going to impact our lives and our children's lives. And I don't think that's too much to ask. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second that.
All those